Welcome to Chatting the Pictures. My name is Cara Finnegan, and I'm a writer, teacher, and historian of photography.
And I'm Michael Shaw. I'm a writer, a psychologist, and also publisher of Reading the Pictures.
The COVID-19 pandemic has already produced an enormous range of powerful photography. Premier Photo Awards can be especially helpful for identifying and appreciating the critical themes of this all-encompassing crisis.
This image was taken by Mads Nissen for the Panos Pictures agency and the Danish daily Politiken. It's titled The First Embrace, and it shows Rosa Luzia Lunardi, who's 85 years old, embraced by nurse Adriana, Silva de Costa, Souza at Viva Bem care home in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in August 2020. It was recently named the World Press Photo Picture of the Year.
It's easy to understand why this photograph is so compelling and award-winning. Obviously, we're first drawn to those butterfly wings that are enabling the hug between these two women. But I also noticed the juxtaposition of the bodies here. You have the younger, taller, larger woman who is a nurse welcoming in that smaller, older woman, presumably more fragile. And that juxtaposition of, the vulnerable needing to be cared for and welcomed by the less vulnerable is a really powerful aspect of this image, I think.
I think that the photograph, among other things, is a big win for metaphor. You saw a butterfly, I see a butterfly, but I also see an angel's wings. And when you look at it with that symbolism, it's really interesting to think about the enormous number of photographs we've seen of frontline medical workers depicted as heroes and superheroes. And so what's really interesting in this picture is there's kind of a reversal where the people who have been venerated for their bravery and heroism at this point are the ones that get the appreciation, not just from the patient, but with the analogy of the angel's wings, it's like they're getting this hug from on high.
Yeah, and it's almost like we, the viewer, are next in line for our own hug, isn't it? We're behind the smaller, older woman being hugged. And yet, maybe it's our turn, right? Maybe it's our turn to have a little bit of our vulnerabilities addressed, to have a little bit of that interaction, that loving interaction that so many people have missed. And, it's interesting to think about the butterfly and the angel. When I thought about butterfly wings, I thought about this idea of ephemerality. Butterflies are beautiful, but, we talk a lot about how climate change is threatening the monarch butterfly, for example. And so in some ways, to think about the older woman wrapped up like a butterfly is also to kind of highlight her beauty, but also her vulnerability to COVID.
If we were looking at this picture 6 months ago or 9 months ago, in the midst of the crisis, I think we would have been talking more about the deprivation of contact and the power of touch. But it's really interesting that here we are at this point with greater perspective, and we're spending so much more time talking about the symbolism and how that gives us, a deeper way of looking at these pictures and lends more perspective. I think when a photograph wins the World Press and a photograph like this is honored, there's also a political aspect to it where it really is telling us at some level, maybe just at the margins, that a country like Brazil, which otherwise has been suffering this countrywide meltdown from COVID, this incredible distress based on the leadership of Bolsonaro, is also desperately in need of its better angels.